Today I'm going to show you some simple tricks I use to make my model look more metal. So there will be armor texture and flame cutting marks, weld beads and battle scars. Let's roll! Plastic is a plastic, and model producers know very well that some details are not worth recreating or there is no technological point in doing it. We as modelers can leave it as it is or take care of it and improve the original product on our own. In my opinion, it's worth these few hours of work because the effect will be better for sure, but also the satisfaction with the upgrade will bring us immortal fame and will write us in the history books. Okay, I have uploaded some photos of my previous models where such an improvement has been made. Before I start, a few words about the materials. First, a putty. For me it's not important whether we apply acrylic putty or mix glue with putty or use some ready-made product. It's important that it sticks to the surface. Second, tools such as a pencil, drill, sandpaper or sponge to smooth the surface, toothpick, modeling knife, scriber, stamp for imprinting welds, a piece of plastic rolling plate, some water, some old brush. This is probably all you will need. Third, masks such as a milliput, green stuff or other two-component mixtures. One important note. The order of execution is not strictly defined and everyone can do it in his own way. I usually start with cutting out the places for welds, then the texture of the armor plates, cuts, welds and finally the hit marks. I divided the whole thing into 3 main topics, but you will probably notice that some things aren't in sequence. It's all about keeping some order in the movie. German vehicles had quite a smooth surface of the armor plates, but it's worth making a bit of fuss and improve them by applying a putty. In the case of acrylic putty, I dilute it a little with water and apply it in 2 layers. But of course, before that I gently sand the surface to make it rougher. You have to pay attention not to destroy small elements on the surface of the armor unless we recreate them on our own. When the putty is dry, I gently sand the entire surface until the desired texture is obtained. It's worth checking quite often so as not to sand everything smooth because this is not the point here. Immediately after that we can make steel cutting marks by cutting the edges irregularly with a knife. Here and there you can make deeper and wider cutouts for variety. Each edge that is cut in this way should be wrapped with a thin plastic glue in order to soften the cut lines and edges. Just add the glue and let it dry. I know that this effect is overdone comparing to the real vehicles, but it's better to have it done in this way than left the edges without any signs of mechanical processing. And that's it, we've done the upgrade. The first part of the upgrade. Making new welds is a two-stage job. First you need to cut a place for the mask from which we will make the weld bits. Attaching it to the existing ones doesn't make sense because it will be hard to work on them. This is why I very often do this as a first stage before I even cover a given part with a putty. I use a modeling knife or a scriber for this, depending on the convenience and the element I need to remove. At this stage it doesn't look great and even tragic, but everything will return to normal in a moment. Please remember that you have to do it very carefully because it's easy to cut yourself, but also to damage the surface of the model quite significantly. And that's why I prefer to do this surgical operation before applying the putty. If necessary, I can cover the damage. Once all the grooves are cut, you can start refilling the weld lines. I use green stuff or milliput for this. I roll a small piece on a plastic plate with a little water to avoid sticking. Then I put the sausage or snake, as you want, in the grooves and press it so that they hold tight. Now with a special tool that I made from a piece of toothpick and plaque, I start to imprint the C shape one by one. This second tool is similar to a screwdriver and it's used to make some oblong welds. An arduous work, but you will see very soon that it's worth the effort. Couple months ago I said that I need to count them, so I did it. I made it twice, so average amount is about 37-38 welds for 1 cm. The whole model is about 110 centimeters, so it's more or less 2000 C-shaped welds because the rest was done with the plastic screwdriver. Very good option is to check the walk-around pictures of the real vehicle. In the case of King Tiger I found great photos on Panzerpreis EU. The top surfaces are clearly visible as well as steel texture, hits and details. Apart from the fact that you can check the pictures of King Tiger, there are also many interesting articles and photos. So, highly recommend it. You can check this page by clicking the link above. Not every vehicle had such traces, but if we are making a veteran it's worth adding something to it which will imitate its service on the battlefield. I divide the traces of hits into small and large. Well, start with the big ones. First, it's good to define how many and where they should be. Drawing these traces with a pencil is a good practice because then we can visually judge if they look good. In addition, it's worth considering if there is any equipment near the heat that could be damaged. Then we also have to damage it a little. Once we have marked place, we have to make holes. Just simple. With a drill or knife or other tool, don't use anything hot for this because it's difficult to control and we will do more uncontrolled and unexpected damages. No, absolutely not. It's good to clean the place of impact from molten plastic. You don't need to worry if there is a big hole right through it. You can stick it on the inside or even the outside or leave it like I did here. With a small carbide cutter we can make extra subtle hit marks. Huh? Subtle hit marks? Sounds like a gentle guard dog. Never mind, just damage the surface of the armor. Small damage is much faster to perform. Of course, they are also worth marking on the model and deciding whether they look good or not. To do this, all you need is a modeling knife. Just you pick out the plastic in the marked places, making small, irregular and shallow marks on the armor. Of course, we can do the same on fenders and other thin elements. You can also use a small drill, especially on surfaces covered with cimmerit, when the fire from a small arms weapon could do such damage. Cimmerit damage is a different topic, but you can see how I did it in the Panther movie. Link at the top. As you can see, I use different tools to make different traces. Don't be afraid, but if you are, try it first on some scrap. Once you've drilled the hit marks, fill them with filler, for example milliput, putty or whatever you have in your boxes. We shape the edges and the inside of the hole, remembering that it's not smooth but rather jagged. For this purpose it's worth helping with photos of real damages. After that, all that's left is to wait for the mask to dry. And ready. I noticed that milliput is better for this task because its consistency isn't as smooth as the green stuff. When forming with the toothpick or a thicker piece of wood, which you will see in a moment, the effect is much more realistic. It's enough to sand such a piece of stick to have a convenient tool for forming hit marks. Of course, it could also be a brush tip or something like that. Don't forget to use some water to avoid sticking of the mass. Today, of course, you won't see the entire construction and maybe some of you will be disappointed, but the episode would be too long. Next week I will be doing some cool extras including metal fenders, 3D printed handles, ropes and more. I also plan to do a subscribers draw and give a prize with a large set of King Tiger editions. Stay tuned! And that would be all I wanted to show about surface upgrade. I think it's a fairly easy job and can be done quite quickly if we know where, how and what to do it. Good luck with it! If you like this content and had a good time, please don't forget to like and subscribe. And do it now! I would like to thank my great patrons who support me. If you want to see more materials not published anywhere else, photos from the workshop, galleries, or you would like to see the next video right now, then check out my website and see what appears there. I try to publish posts as often as possible so that patrons are up to date with progress on my models. Of course, we are constantly in touch with comments and private messages, and because of that, Patreon is the first place I check every day. So that's all for... wait a minute. I'd like to invite you to visit Small Soldier channel that I discovered some time ago. Lots of interesting videos on different topics, figures, vehicles, planes. Everyone will find something new to learn. Check it out and subscribe. And now that's all for today. See you next Monday. Cheers!